The IEC has lodged an appeal with the Constitutional Court over the Electoral Court's ruling, which allows former President Jacob Zuma to contest the May 29 elections. Earlier this week, the Electoral Court set aside the Commission's decision to qualify Zuma from taking part in the upcoming polls. Joining me now is MK Party's spokesperson, Nhlamulo Ndlela. Mr. Ndlela, good afternoon. Thanks very much for your time. Your party's reaction to this latest move by the IEC?
Good afternoon, Vuyo, and good afternoon to your viewers. Vuyo, this is really very concerning that the IEC is so desperate to, challenge an appeal and then want to masquerade it as, a matter that they ought to be seeking clarity on. They can't be, what we're seeing here, they're acting ex post facto, after the effect. They invoked Section 47(1)(e), confidently so, to uphold an objection against President Zuma's candidacy, and then want to ex post facto talk about, seeking clarity. What we're asking is, were they not supposed to have sought clarity prior to invoking Section 47(1)(e), to disqualify, or in an attempt to disqualify President Zuma's candidacy, and then want to go to the Constitutional Court and say you're seeking clarity? You can't seek clarity when you are submitting a motion to appeal. How is a motion to appeal seeking clarity when you ought to have sought clarity prior to actually invoking Section 47(1)(e) to disqualify President Zuma? And then also, they are not the aggrieved party here. The aggrieved party is the doctor who objected this, and it ought to be him that then challenges this. Why is the IEC now trading on the political landscape and playing political games? This is very concerning. It questions their role and their independence in this whole matter.
Well, I mean, the last paragraph in their statement, which presumably speaks to your last point, reads, "The Commission wishes to emphasize that this appeal is not intended to involve itself in the political field of play. It is rather to ensure free and fair elections by ensuring that applicable constitutional provisions relating to elections are clearly understood by all role players and applied evenly."
Section 47(1)(e) is a piece of legislation in the Constitution that gives power to the National Assembly. IEC, from the beginning, has been acting outside of their mandate, without authority, and outside of their jurisdiction. So what clarity are they sorting, or are they seeking? What clarity are they seeking here? They ought to have sought that clarity prior to invoking Section 47(1)(e). And why specifically 1(e), as it pertains to the criminality element? I mean, here the IEC is borderline a political party right now, backing another force from elsewhere. They are not an aggrieved party here. They have nothing to lose. Why are they so involved in this matter? Why are they so keen to take this in advantage to the next stage?
Now, to your first point, I don't know if this is. I remember. I mean, they said, if you remember this question was asked. From them, and they said that the legal opinion that they got prior to adjudicating on the matter in the first instance was that the law specifically prohibited a person who was in the situation of the former president from doing what your party wanted him to do.
Well, clearly that lawyer and their legal opinion misinterpreted the reality of how the law ought to be applied. I mean, here's a reality. In terms of Section 30 of the Electoral Act, the IEC, by the way, gives power. That act gives powers to the chief electoral officer to raise an objection. Also, by the way, Section 30 states it very clearly. It's clear, right? Mm-hmm. What we're saying here is they should have rather than, why doesn't the chief electoral officer, rather than he himself, raise an objection? He should have raised an objection because that's exactly what it is. It seems now, and this is what we're concerned about, and we just hope it's just our imagination. It seems now as if they've gone out of their way to get someone to object and then, surf away so that it gets traction in order for them to achieve their nefarious activities. That's just an imagination. It's just from where we're sitting. We just hope it's not the truth. But that's what it's starting to look like. It's starting to look like they asked someone to light this fire and we'll fuel it because we have a specific agenda. And remember, it doesn't help the fact that the likes of Janet Lau are, by virtue of having made pronouncements, in advance of an actual commission being held, that she actually makes a pronouncement and then goes and oversees the same objection being held. It does not help. The IEC ought to be beyond reproach, Vuyo. At this point, they're really raising a lot of eyebrows and flags. It's concerning.
Of course, we'll hear from them. Once they'll be speaking with. From what they've told everybody, early next week, some time. But just as a parting shot, it is true that a lot of people were caught by surprise, and that's to put it mildly. By the decision itself. Whether, of course, it's their understanding or lack of understanding of the law is another matter altogether. But I just want to read you a line from their statement again as a parting shot. They say the Commission believes there is substantial public interest in providing certainty on the proper interpretation of Section 47.1E and its interplay with the powers of the Commission to adjudicate objections to candidates. I'm saying you don't buy that story either.
What you just basically said there is that they're going based on public opinion. No. Let's go back. They're saying they seek clarity. If they're seeking clarity, they can't expect, in the same way, let me put it this way, in the same way when we went and we engaged the public, and the public said they want to see President Zuma to be on the candidate list. They want to see President Zuma as the president of this country. The downtrodden people do not intellectualize them wanting change in their life and nominating a leader that they believe will bring about that change. The IEC Act and all Section 47.1E doesn't apply to them. So to use the notion that the public is concerned, which public are we referring to? Because the public that we've been engaging with and the people that we engage with, that we represent, want President Zuma there, and they didn't even have to read the law. But the law, in this case, falls squarely in support of President Zuma and his candidacy. So, let's not allow ourselves to be hoodwinked, by individuals who have got an agenda of their own to try and remove President Zuma, to try and infringe on MK Party's right to appoint whoever and nominate whoever they would want as candidate to then sit in the National Assembly. The issue of the National Assembly will be dealt with accordingly. Right now, we have gone through the process of the electoral court. It has given an order, and also the fact that the IEC wants to go and appeal without even understanding what the terms or what the basis of the judgment are. What are the reasons? They don't know the reasons. So how do you go and appeal, without understanding what the judgment is referring to? They don't understand the reasons. What are you actually appealing? It's so desperate, what we're seeing here. It's a desperate act.
Mr. Nhlamulo Ndlela, let me thank you very much for your time this afternoon. He's the national spokesperson of the MK Party. Of course, what's making this matter even more difficult is the fact that the Independent Electoral Commission is not speaking on this decision at the moment, they are telling us. But what's making it even more difficult to deal with this is the fact that the Electoral Court is also yet to give us reasons for its decision. But of course that hasn't stopped the IEC from approaching the Constitutional Court for, as it put it, clarity on Section 47.1E of the Constitution.